a quick revision after the particular session here so that you can get the concepts properly, right? So let's begin with today's session. So let me introduce about the agenda which we're going to cover over here. So we are going to meet over here on this one to understand that what exactly is GitOps, what is the importance of GitOps and how it's different from the typical DevOps. So I'm going to explain you that stuff. And with that, we are going to see a small demo with the help of GitHubs like GitHub Actions, that how exactly we can run some Maven builds or we can do some processing. So we will definitely talk about that, right? So let's begin with that. Now, before even talking about the GitOps or talking about the GitHub Actions or the CI/CD automations, different options, let me explain you that why exactly we got a new terminology called GitOps. Because you guys must have been talked about like the DevOps. So DevOps is something which you must have heard about, like because it's a very hot topic right now. From last 5-10 years, DevOps is like something that everyone is talking about. Everyone is trying to understand that what exactly really is DevOps all about, and they are trying to get along with that. But suddenly, why this GitOps or these kind of new terminologies started coming up? Because you can consider this GitOps nothing but a kind of evolution into the DevOps architecture. In DevOps architecture, we are talking about like how we are deploying or how we are developing CI/CD pipeline using Jenkins, how we are going for the different set of attributes, different setups, different configurations. So a lot of work we are doing in case of DevOps. We are using like Jenkins, we are having a version control system, we are using Jenkins, and then we are doing the deployment. So there is a lot of configuration which is involved now, which looks good because if you're working into a bigger organization and a complex project, so these are the minimum requirements or the minimum things which you are expected to perform also. But things have changed over the period of time, and we have certainly got these kind of modern practices like GitOps. Now people like you and me, for instance, like I'm supporting some particular application of my own, and I don't have enough infrastructure to install a particular Jenkins, have a infrastructure to have the Jenkins up and running, or to have a separate version control system up and running. So it's going to be a very expensive call for me when I have a limited resources available there. Plus, even if you have a budget, it's going to be a difficult task for you because ultimately what you need to do is that you have to do the management. You may have to do the upgrades to the Jenkins, putting some patches up there. So there is a kind of a patches or upgrades which you may have to do in case of Jenkins or when you're handling these DevOps tools there. So that's the reason why we come up a new terminology. We come up a new technology over here called GitOps. Now, GitOps is not a kind of replacement of DevOps. Organizations are definitely going for the DevOps, but you can consider GitOps as a kind of a shortcut, like something where you will be able to perform the similar activities like DevOps, but you don't have to manage 3-4 different tools as such there. One single tool should be able to give you the complete feature. So when in DevOps, we are talking about Jenkins. So in case of GitOps, we are talking about the Git CI/CD pipelines. I'm just using a generic Git CI/CD pipeline terminology because every tool is using its own terminology. For example, in GitHub, it's GitHub Actions. In Bitbucket, it's Bitbucket pipelines. And in GitLab, it's a GitLab CI/CD pipelines. So the whole purpose of GitOps is to provide you a particular mechanism so that you will be able to deploy or you will be able to handle the CI/CD pipelines, the CI/CD pipe automations over here in this one. So that's the basic benefit which you're going to get over here when it comes to the CI/CD pipeline or CI/CD automation here. So GitOps is talking about like how these automations can be done and can be achieved over here right away in this one. So that's a kind of a benefit which you're going to get. You're going to achieve it up here right now. Also over here, when it comes like when we are going for the particular executions, like we are talking about some of the activities, like something where we will be able to handle like how the things or how the configurations can be performed. There are some things, because when you're going for the CI/CD pipelines or CI/CD automation, so you have to actually take care of like how the configurations can be done or how exactly the changes can be performed over here. So we have a lot of modifications to be performed so that we will be able to get the desired output. You wanted to have the build automation, the Maven automations, you can do that. You wanted to do the deployment into the Tomcat Apache, you can perform that. You want to deploy to the Kubernetes, you can perform that also. So there are a lot of activities which we can actually perform when it comes to the automation, when it comes to the GitOps here, right? Now when it comes to the GitOps, like it all depends on the maturity of the tools. For example, earlier we used to perform the particular PowerShell or bash scripts, so those kind of automations we used to perform there at that time. But things changed over the time, and now we are looking forward that how exactly the different set of automations we can do. So now we are basically trying for the different we moved on to the configuration management tool like Chef, Puppet, Ansible, SaltStack. So we moved on towards those tools. They started providing us the flexibility. So earlier we were doing a lot of manual works with the bash scripts and PowerShell or the batch scripts, but we moved on with the configuration management tool. Then we got very popular tools like the Terraform, the CloudFormation. So we started managing the infrastructure as a code, and now we have got the GitOps here. So purely cloud-based service, which is basically helping us to manage the Git. Like Git is something which is definitely available there. But apart from that, if you want to do the infrastructure as code or CI/CD pipelines, that's also something which we will be able to handle or we will be able to do over here. So that's a cloud maturity that over the period of time, it actually get evolved one by one to a next level where we started getting the benefits. Like these are the different setups or the different tasks which we will be able to perform here. So that's a kind of a benefit which we are going to get over here when it comes to the setup, when it comes to the modifications on this particular content as such there. So that's a kind of a benefit which we are going to get over here when it comes to these modifications or the setup down the line, right? So that's a kind of management which we are trying to do. We are trying to achieve it up here. Now this is what the difference, the main difference which we talk about over here. For example, here in this one, we are trying to see like how the configurations we can do. Like I mean, we are having the build pipelines available here. Let me So here in this one, if you can see, like this is a typical DevOps pipeline in which we are taking care of, like the developers are committing the codes in the Git repository. After that, the build is executing, the test case is executing, and the packages is being performed there. Now, in case of GitOps, you don't need like any build server here. You would see here that the when you doing the commits, you're doing the pull request or you are approving any pull request or doing merge activity. So from Git itself, all these activities will be done, like build, test, package, all these things will be executed there. And in fact, deploy also will be done from here. Like if you really going and trying to do the configurations over here, so you are basically trying to see like how the configurations or how these setups can be done, and you are achieving the automations and the setup as such here. So with this one, you will be able to do the installation, like you're doing the build, test, package, and then ultimately at last you're performing the installation. So this installation is what you're trying to do. You're trying to perform it up into the using the version control system. So there is no additional tool or server which is involved, which is available over here in this case. So that's the kind of difference which we have got there. Now it's very important because ultimately in this case we are actually doing the check-in into Git there. So that's one tool. Second tool is the build server, where we will need to have the build executed there, and then you will be having the third one, like in order to perform the deployment. So third category of tool will be available there. But if you talk about Git, this Git ops over here. So in this one, all these things will be done at the Git repository or the Git website itself over here in this one. So you don't have to procure two, three different tools as such over here in this. So that's a main benefit. That's a main advantage which we actually get with the help of GitOps, that we don't really have to put all these activities, and we will be able to work it off, or we will be able to perform the different changes over here as such. So that's kind of a benefit which we are going to get over here with the help of this here. So this is the main difference. You can see this as a kind of difference between the DevOps and the GitOps also. Like what is the main difference which we can consider between the DevOps and the GitOps over here. So that's also like something which we can consider over here. And this is something which is very important because down the line, when you guys are going to move from the particular DevOps to the GitOps, so you have to basically take care of all the activities right away into the Git version control system. So that's something which we have to do. We have to perform it up or handle it up over here in this one, right? So that's what we are trying to talk about, or we are going to consider up over here in this case. Right now. So this is the main difference which we comes over here in this case. Also, this is another architecture which we can talk about over here. Now in this one, as you can see here, that you have pretty much got whatever the things you feel like. It can be infrastructure as code, it can be a configuration management, it can be application code. Now it's not like only CI/CD automation is possible in GitOps. If you're doing some infrastructure as code, for example, if you want to run some Terraform, or you want to run some Amazon CloudFormation templates, CloudFormation scripts, so that also you can execute in the workflow into the GitHub or GitOps here. You wanted to do the configuration management, like you want to invoke Ansible, Chef, or Puppet. So that also you can do with the help of GitOps. And ultimately at last, you can actually have the application source code. So that also you can deploy with the help of CI/CD automation. So there is a n number of tasks which you can do. So that's the reason why we are saying that it's a kind of a substitute, over here in this one, that it's actually giving you a lot of benefits on top of the DevOps. So whatever the benefits we used to get with the DevOps, the same benefits we are getting over here. But the main difference we got over here is that now you don't have to manage a lot of things, and pretty much everything, whether it's a configuration management tool, whether it's a particular changes over here. So that's also like something we will be able to handle, and we will be able to perform it up over here in this case. So that's the kind of main benefit which we get with the help of the GitOps over here in this one. Right? So it's not only about CI/CD automation. We can actually go and we can have the particular configuration management. We can also have the particular infrastructure provisioning. So a lot of activities can be done with the help of GitOps over here in this one. So that's a kind of benefit which we can get. We can consider it up over here. Right now. Okay. Let me check in the chat window if anyone having any kind of doubts. So guys, anyone having any doubts or questions, you can put it in the chat window. I'm not sure like if you guys are allowed to mute yourself, but yeah, please use the chat window over here to ask up the questions.
Let me unmute. Okay.
I think Ethan, everyone is muted actually. Yeah.
Yes, I'm unmuting. Give me a second. So guys, you can, if you have any question, you can unmute yourself. Okay, I'm just going to unmute everybody.
Just give it a 1 minute. We're getting everyone unmuted. So meanwhile, those guys who are unmuted, if you have any kind of questions or doubts, please feel free to ask. Yep. So almost everyone is unmuted. Great, great. Right. So if I want to summarize the whole topics as so for now, here is that we talked about like how, because we have, if you guys have also gone through the DevOps, so by now you must have, thought about that in DevOps, you're doing some build automations, you're using the Jenkins to create the CI/CD pipelines. So all that kind of work you are already managing, you are saying that this is something which is possible. But now with the help of this new technology, we are saying that you don't have to procure anything else, anything separate. The same Git version control system which you have right now, in which you have the repositories and the source code. So there itself, you can actually do a variety of work. You can do CI/CD automations. You can perform the deployments, the source code deployments. You can do the configuration management tools. You can do the infrastructure provisioning. Tools like Terraform can be integrated. So there are a lot of benefits and a lot of tasks which you can actually do. You can perform it up with the help of this GitOps here. So that's a kind of a primary benefit which we are going to get when it comes to the GitOps, when we are trying to perform it up over here in this one. So that's a main primary advantage which we are going to get over here when it comes to the GitOps here. Right? Yeah. Okay, now if we talk about the different tasks, so we can just like in the previous image, I have talked about like we can do a variety of activities, like we can take care of different kind of performance activities on that part. Now, what really happens with the GitHub Actions is that now there are some because GitHub is available for if I talk about the GitHub Actions. So we actually have, for example, I'm going for the GitHub. Now, when I go for the GitHub Actions, this is a kind of, you can say like a cloud solution, which is given to me because right now I'm using a cloud account of the GitHub. I'm not having this onto my on premises, but similarly, this option is available on your premises also when you install the GitHub. So the same option will be available there also for you. But it's like I'm using a cloud version right now. I don't have any infrastructure to get the GitHub installed onto my physical instances, right? So wherever you want to install, you want to host GitHub. So you will be having the GitHub up and running, and there itself you will be handling or you will be designing this CI/CD pipelines there. I'll show you proper demo also like how it happens. But yes, before that, I'm just wanted to show you like how what exactly this feature is really talking about there. Now, the thing is that when I'm using this cloud service, so I can perform any kind of activity, and that too also any operating system, because it's going to be a very generic way. When you say like I wanted to perform some build on a Linux platform, I wanted to run some builds on a Windows platform, I wanted to run some builds on Mac OS, a variety of operating system is available there. There are sometimes we have the limitation that we can run it onto a specific environment only. For example, we have in the case of .NET, we know like the old .NET frameworks are actually being built out on the Windows platform only, not on the Linux platform. So that's something which we wanted to consider. We wanted to see, or we wanted to configure it up there. So we have a different options. You can see like these three different flavors of operating system which is available, and we can utilize it. We'll see that also. We will be running a typical Maven build to understand that how we can go for the GitHub actions as such there. Now, GitHub action is not the only solution. I'm talking about the generic GitOps over here. So Bitbucket pipelines, GitLab CI/CD. So it's a very generic option. So when it comes to the GitLab, so GitLab was the very first tool which was providing us the continuous integration, continuous delivery and deployment. So they were the first in this particular domain. And then we got the Bitbucket pipelines, and then the latest version is GitHub Actions. So pretty much all these three are the cloud-based service, which is actually going to give us the understanding that how the GitOps really works out there. So this is the true GitOps, which we are talking about over here in this one. Now, the another benefit which we get over here is that as an individual, for instance, I don't have to do any kind of infrastructure. If I don't want to use this service, so what I need to do is that I need to create a virtual machine, and then I will start hosting my applications on top of that. So that's a kind of work which I have to manage there. But as you can see in this one, that we don't have to do it. Like, we are using the ready-made operating systems over here. Whatever the ready-made platform which is given to us, we can use it. So there are two type of activities we can do. We have the see we have two type of hosted, like GitHub agents, which is available here. Now, what is a GitHub agents? Because in order to run the build for, because I'm using the free account, right? So when I'm using the free account, so I'm actually getting 2000 minutes per month. Now, this is also another benefit. If I'm keeping a Jenkins server up and running, so I have to actually pay it for every minute that server is up and running. I'm not paying for the Jenkins, but I'm paying for the infrastructure. But if I'm actually using for 1 hour or 2 hours in a day for my builds, I'm actually having a dedicated server up and running, which is not good, because ultimately I have a lot of time in which I'm not even using my infrastructure, and it's not getting utilized as such there. So that's why what we are doing is we are saying that, okay, let's not do that, because we don't have any control on the infrastructure. So we are using this cloud service on the basis of minutes. So a 2000 minutes is going to be provided to us per minute per month, because we are using a free account. If you're using a free account, 2000 minutes will be provided. After 2000 minutes, you will be having these costs for Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. These are the costs which will be coming up there. Now you just have to pay for that particular time duration. That, okay, if you're running a build in a day for 1 hour, so only you have to just multiply these values with the with the 60 minutes, and that's a kind of billing which you will be able to get here. So you're not going to have your infrastructure available 24/7. It's a cloud service. You want to use it, you can use it. Otherwise, you don't have to keep your infrastructure always up and running. So that's something which can definitely help you to decrease the overall cost of your infrastructure. So that's the main benefit which we are going to get with this here. So this is the reason why organizations are actually going for GitOps, because they saw an opportunity that how exactly they can come, and they can keep the size or the costs, IT costs over here minimized. So that's what they are trying to do. They are trying to handle over here. So keeping in mind that only they are trying to achieve, or they are trying to implement all this particular stuff here, right? And if you're using the GitHub Enterprise tool onto your infrastructure, then in that case, you don't have to pay anyone on that part. You can have your self-hosted, machines or the servers, and you can just play out with that also. So it depends on like which solutions you really feel like you wanted to use and you wanted to get along here. right? Now, in order to use GitHub Actions, all you need to have is like a basic repository. For example, I have a repository here, right? Now, I'm just going to show you a particular demo on how exactly the GitOps really happens over here. I don't have any Jenkins open. I don't have any kind of build server opened over here. I'm not even logged in with my AWS account here. So all I'm trying to do is that I'm going to just use this GitHub account over here in this one just to perform all the activities. So that's what we are trying to do over here. So from there itself, you will be able to know like now we don't have any kind of dependency on any other tool or any other server. We are just having the optimal utilization of GitHub is what we are trying to do. We are trying to achieve over here in this case. Right now, so as you can see here that we have the source code available there. So you have a source directory where I have the source code available with me. I also have a pom.xml file or Maven script available there. Now it depends on your build process, like whatever the automations you feel like you want to do within your particular like GitHub. So the same automations you want to do, you will be performing over here also. So here we will be trying to do like what kind of setups you wanted to achieve. Now I will be performing a Maven build over here in this one, but again, even if we are not sure, for example, let's say that you are not sure that what kind of build you will be performing, you will be doing over here. So GitHub will automatically detect it while creating the pipeline. It will automatically pick the kind of source code which you have really got over here in this one. And that's the biggest benefit when it comes to this setup, that how this is going to be performed and going to be achieved over here in this one. So let's see like how this is going to work, and it's going to give me all these particular different benefits as such here. Right now, so here you will be able to see that there is an action option, right? If I quickly log into the pipeline to the Bitbucket and GitLab also, because I have actually the accounts to those those tools also, because it just like I was telling you about that this is a very generic automations. Like this is very generic thing which is available across all the version control system. Some tool, some functionality is better, some functionality is not better, but yeah, that's the way, that's a particular way that how this is really going to work and being implemented as such here. So I'm just logged in here. See, this is my Bitbucket and this is my like particular GitLab here. So in all the cases, you will see in case of Bitbucket, I will also be able to see a pipeline option. You can see like a pipeline option is available there. In case of the GitHub, there also we have the setup CI/CD pipeline. So this concept, when we talk about GitOps, is not only related to the GitHub, Bitbucket, or GitLab. It's a very generic concept which is being available across all the tools. There are a lot of other cloud tools which is also available, like the AWS DevOps, the Azure DevOps. These solutions are also available there in the market, which we can explore accordingly. So I have almost done the production grade setups in all the different tools there. And believe me, like there is no difference as such as compared to the tools. I mean, somewhere we may have some particular different way of performing the activity. In some other tool, we have a different way of doing the activity. So these things keeps on changing, but ultimately in the end, we actually get all these activities done in a very streamlined and a very better way over here in this one. So this is the Maven build which is available there. So all I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on the actions here. Um, you can ignore these previous builds, right? So these are something which is available there. I mean, let me pick up some neat and clean repos so that you guys can actually have a better clarity about that. Okay, I guess. Let me delete. Okay, right. So this is just an old logs, so you can just ignore it for now. So let's see. So what I'm going to do is that when I'm going for the actions, if it's a new particular repository, let me show you. So if I don't have any kind of things available there, so it will be visible like this. I mean, right? So for me, it's just showing some previous build, but that's fine. It's directly going to the new workflow screen. But yes, for me, it's like I have some pre-executables, like particular steps, which is already done there. So that's fine. But otherwise, it's going to give me the same interface. This is something which is there from the previous pipeline, which does not exist right now, but the log informations are available there. So when I'm going for the new workflow here, it actually gives me that workflows made for your repository, which means like it automatically detects the code base here. So it's giving me because it's a Maven build, so it's giving you the Maven and the Android related, the Java related source code here. I have actually a Docker file, so that's why this Docker image related workflows are coming up, but it's automatically being generated here. I have not picked up these things. These are like something which is being picked up automatically here. You also have a lot of workflows. I mean, if you scroll down, you will be able to see a lot of continuous integration or continuous deployment workflows. But it has already detected the programming language, which is available over here in this case, in this one. So that's a kind of activity or the setup which we will be able to do, or we will be able to perform it up over here in this one. Right? So anyone having any doubts? Okay, great. Now, when we are going for this,
Hello.
yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, my question is why we use the div OPS?
Why? Can you please repeat?
Why we use div OPS? Git
DevOps
OPS.
here?
Why we use the div OPS in automation?
Yeah, we can see we can basically do a lot of automations here, because even if we talk about the DevOps or we talk about the GitOps over here, because we are actually using this ops keyword for the operations task, which is more on from like configuration management, infrastructure like provisioning, creating the infrastructure, creating the virtual machines, creating the servers, and then the application deployment. So for those part, we are actually referring them as this terminology, but it really helps us to see, because ultimately down the line it helps us to see not only development tasks, like it's not only meant to perform the build activity and all that stuff. We can do much more than that, which is like we can deploy it, we can have the infrastructure creations and all that stuff also, we can do it, or we can perform it up here. So that's the reason why we have those terminologies here.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else having any doubts? Okay. Now, so it's automatically detecting the source code over here. I mean, I can select from the bottom one also, like what are the different options which is available there, but I'm not going to do that because it's actually not showing you that particular attributes or the values as such there. So I'm saying like, okay, this is the one which I wanted to consider, and I'm going to pick this particular ones over here so that we will be able to get and we will be able to perform the overall activities as such here. So that's the kind of work which we are trying to do. We are trying to handle up over here in this one. Now, when we are going for the executions like here, I'm going to select, okay, that I wanted to go for this workflow. We don't call it as in the pipeline. Here they are using different work kind of terminology, but ultimately it's the same thing only. So there is no difference as such in this one. It's the same terminology. So I'm going to set up this workflow over here. So when I click on this, so automatically a pipeline content will be provided to you. And this pipeline content is actually going to tell you that yes, how the configurations and the setups can be done, and you can perform the changes over here. Now, we are going to just talk about a basic skeleton here. If you can see here, the very first thing, let me put this into the notepad plus plus here. I mean, you don't have to put that much efforts in order to learn this. This is not that much complex pipelines. It's very simple to understand that how these really works over here in this one. So if you can see here that the very first thing which comes over here is the name, a very simple name over here, that what is the name you're going to talk about here. So that's what we are trying to see. We are trying to consider over here. And also with this one, it will help you to understand that this is the pipeline name which we are trying to do. We are trying to consider here. So that's a kind of a name which we are trying to allocate it so that accordingly we will be able to work and we will be able to perform the things here. So that's what we are trying to do. Now after that, once we are giving this is just in a particular name. I can say Java job with Maven. Any name you can perform, you can do over here. So that's something you can perform it up over here in this one.
I have one question.
Yeah, please.
Here, what we exactly do? We deploy the automation project.
Everything. I mean, I'm just showing a CI particular portion, which is like the build automation and test cases automation, but we can do other aspects also. Let me show you. If I go back, see, it actually shows over here. This is continuous integrations, right? So it's basically talking about the different options over here as such, like what are different tasks I wanted to do. But I can actually do much more activities. See, if I wanted to deploy a Node.js application on Azure, if I wanted to deploy to Amazon ECS, if I wanted to deploy to OpenShift, if I want to, trigger the Terraform, if I wanted to deploy to the Google Cloud, I have the deployment steps also available with me. So it's not only about the build automations, we can actually do a typical complete CI/CD automation. CI
Yes,
portion. Hmm.
yes, but right now what we are doing, we are taking one automation project and deploy it, right?
Yes, yes, yes. That's what we are
Oh,
doing. So we will be running some particular workflows, and in that workflow, we will be compiling a source code. For example, here we have the source code available, right, in the source directory. So what
yeah.
we're going to do is that we are going to pick that. We also have some test cases. So
Mhm.
I will show you that flow, that how the compilation,
Okay,
test cases,
okay, sure,
all the step
sure.
is going to be done.
Thank.
Yeah, right. Now, I'm not keeping any particular Jenkins, like I have not procured any separate server for Jenkins and those kind of stuff. So what I'm doing is that I'm going to the GitHub Actions here, and here I went with the new workflow and the Java with the Maven, right? So automatically a default content came in. Now the content is very simple. First, the name of the job, then it's saying that the activity like a what is the trigger point. We wanted to have an automated trigger, so we are saying that on push on the branches master. If you want to give multiple branches name information, you can do that, but we are trying to define that yes, we are going to run we are going to register the step on the push activity that during the push, we are going to consider these things. We will be registering the push activity, or if there is any kind of pull request uh, or any kind of merge activity done on the master. So then this particular pipeline will be triggered automatically, which I will be replicating also. So I will show you that part here. And then we are saying that what should be the jobs here, right? So we are trying to define, this is a viable content here. So it will look like this. So we are defining like what is a job here. So this is a one job. I mean, I can have more than one job. You can see here that within the jobs, you can put build, test, deploy, that kind of jobs you can provide. But for me, it's actually doing everything in the build only. So we are saying like, okay, where we want to run, where we want to execute the build. So that's something we can do. We can pick it up here. So it shows runs on Ubuntu latest. So that's what we are trying to define here. So Ubuntu latest is what we are trying to configure over here in this one. So after that, we are just having the steps here. So it's doing the checkout, setting up the JDK, and running the build. Now, the main question which may come up into your mind is that from where we are getting the steps. Because if you're going to do it for the first time, you're going to get it very difficult to understand that how things happens there. So we don't have to worry about, of course, we are using a product over here. So you don't have much scope of customization here. Whatever the solutions are provided by the GitHub, you have to use in the same way. On the right hand side, if you see here, if you search for some step, it will actually give you some particular results here. It's a marketplace which is actually available here. I mean, I can open a GitHub Actions marketplace over here, which is like a separate process or separate portal. So here there are like 10,000 or close to 11,000 GitHub Actions which is available there. Some of these are the community ones, like something which is being provided by someone else, and some of these are the official ones. So we can actually use this to see like how exactly these configurations can be done, and we can get the desired output here. So that's what we are trying to do. That's a kind of activity which we can perform, and we can do it over here in this one. So this is just a way that how we can handle, and we can search it out. For example, checkout. Right now, so when you're going to see this value here, so yeah, sorry. So this is the checkout option available there. So when you click on this, you will be able to get the complete value, like how you want to do a checkout. So it's going to give you all the benefits, all the like attributes, that how exactly you're going to perform the checkout over here in this case. So that's a way that how the activities can be done, and that's what we are going to do. We can pick that particular ones over here in this case. Right, so you will be having the values here, like it's going to pick this one. I'm just using that because I wanted to have a checkout of the master branch, so I did not give. So you can give the branch name, you can check the depth, like what should be the fetch depth here. If you want to have like checkout done in a different folder, you can do that also. You can check out multiple repos. It's going to be very good because, again, like I told you, that GitHub Action is not something which is a generic tool. It's something which is being provided by the GitHub. So they are giving you a very good documentations so that you guys will be able to go and perform the activity on this, and you can handle on this part here. So that's the real purpose why they are providing this particular marketplace here. Anything you feel like you want to search, you can do it. For example, you are new to the Kubernetes, right? So you want to deploy onto the EKS. So if you search, you will be able to see like all the options, like how you are trying to deploy it. I tell you very high level. So there are some consultancy work which I have done in which I'm actually doing the Docker image build, and then I'm deploying it to the EKS cluster with the help of this GitHub action itself. no Jenkins at all, nothing, not even getting any kind of dedicated servers. Plus, I'm using a free account of GitHub because it's giving 2000 minutes per month. And within that only we are actually using and doing all these integrations. So I'm not even paying any kind of cost to the GitHub Actions for performing this activity due to my free quota. So that's the main benefit. That's the kind of advantage we will be able to get when it comes to this GitHub Actions here. So I have a GitHub action here, like, it's going to run on my Maven build. So I have a Maven build available there. It's just a text file. You feel like you want to do some customizations, feel free. You can just coordinate with your developers, get the commands, put it up into the template, into the YAML file, and get along with that. So that's a kind of a activity which you will be able to do, and you will be able to perform it up over here in this one. So that's a kind of activity which we will be able to perform it up over here. And now once I start committing this one, a file will be created here. So the folder, any repository, when you go, you will be able to see like GitHub Workflows. It's just a simple file. You can just modify it at any moment of time. But you will see here that there is a check mark which is available. It's saying that it's actually going in progress. So if you see your history, it's a very good thing, because if any build is failing, for example, here, you can see like it's showing the cross symbols. And if it's successful, it shows a check mark here, a green check mark. So in the GitHub Actions, your build is actually completed. And each and every logs will be given to you. You talked about the checkout. So the Git checkout is happening here. You talk about the setting up JDK. It's providing that. Talk about the Maven build. You will be able to see the Maven command executing over here, the complete logs. Any failure in the steps, you will be able to get the responses. But here, see, there is one test cases which is successful, which got executed perfectly fine here. So your war file is getting created. So each and every step is getting executed. You got a war file, see, in the target java-example.war file. So you have that value available there. So this is way that how you can perform the build automation, and you got a big success here. And after that, once it is done, so it's going to perform the cleanup. Everything will be cleaned up over here in this case. So this is the advantage without even procuring. I mean, there are a lot of other advantages, like you can send an email notifications, you can archive the artifacts, you can deploy to the Kubernetes, a lot of stuff you can actually do it. You can deploy to the Amazon cloud, wherever you feel like you want to deploy, you will be able to do it. Plus on top of that, this is purely a cloud friendly tool, which means like you can use it without worrying about like any kind of application issues or any kind of compatibility issues there, right? So I'm using a GitHub cloud tool, but if you have installed this GitHub into your organization, then you can actually use it as a particular GitHub actions, or as a particular GitHub enterprise over here in this one. So that's also another benefit which you will be able to get over here in this case. All right, so this is the real power of the GitHub actions that you can able to do. You can be able to perform a lot of activities over here, and these all automations can definitely help you to perform all these particular tasks. So you don't have to procure any infrastructure. Everything can be done, can be possible over here in this GitHub action itself over here in this one. Right, so this is how the GitHub actions really works up in the action in the particular scenario here. And if I go to the summary, some of them definitely genuinely they will be failed one, like you can see here. Now I don't have to pay for 1 day or 2 days. I just have to pay for 30 seconds, because that's the only time duration which is being taken here. So this is not only easy for a DevOps engineer to configure, but at the same time it's also economical, because you're not going to pay for your infrastructure when you're not using it. You're just going to pay for the infrastructure when you are actually using it for that duration of time. So I was just using it for 30 seconds, and I just paid for the 30 seconds only over here in this case. So that's a primary benefit which we get with the help of GitOps, and that's the reason why the organizations are moving towards GitOps rather than the DevOps, because DevOps is bulky, DevOps is difficult to manage, but on the other hand, GitOps is very easy to manage and very flexible also over here. And all the possibilities which you're getting with DevOps can also be done with GitOps, so it's always a win-win situation here. So that's what we do with the help of a GitOps here. So this is a true picture of GitOps into the market, into the industry and the market here. So anyone having any doubts or questions, please feel free on that. Let me check on the chat window. Anyone having any doubts or questions, guys, please feel free to ask.
Hey, actually, I have one question. By using the action class, firstly, we just copy the code and then paste in the and update and run. So it performed that respective action, right?
Yes, because it's a YAML based, like a pipeline here. So this pipeline is actually there right away into your repo itself, which also is very easy. I mean, if you're working as a developer or a DevOps engineer, you can just do the slight changes to these YAML files, to these pipeline files, and accordingly the whole action will be performed. So it's all derived through this particular YAML file only.
So, like, suppose I just want to like any other guy automation code, right? Or like I just want to take it on my system. So directly push and pull command is there, right?
Yeah. So this is a typical Git here. So you can actually do Git clone and you can bring this repo and then you can do the Git push or pull those activities. You can do it. But the build will be actually triggered only at the GitHub action side because that's something which is being done at the server end only. So in your local particular system, what you're going to do is that you're going to just do some changes and perform some commits and then publish it to the GitHub over here, and then automatically the CI/CD pipeline, these automations will be triggered automatically.
Yeah, authentication is required, right? If by using the
Authentication is
server
a
exec.
natural thing. Yeah, when you do the git clone and those activities, so authentication will be definitely a basic thing which you will be doing for performing that.
Okay, and the overwrite issues and such type of issue if come, then what we just changing the file name and like that.
About the pipeline scripts.
Yeah, in action file like name, or if we are accessing any other code, any other guy code, like just need to clone or like that.
So we actually have the branching concepts also, which is there in the Git. So there you can actually follow the branches. So you don't want to really, all the developers do the commits in the same branch. So they can have a different branches, and one developer can work on different branch and another developer can actually work on different branch. So that way they don't have to, like override each other people's changes, and they can do it into a very simple way there. So they can follow the simple standard branching strategy to actually get along and get the particular restrictions removed as such.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else having any doubts, guys?
Okay, Anuj, I don't think there's any other question. Like there are a few more questions in the chat box. If you look at here, the first question is like we see DevOps and GitHub will soon be deprecated, right? Can you answer this one?
No, the thing is that when I say GitHub Actions, it's actually a part of GitHub only. So, GitHub will not be depreciated. Plus, at the same time, DevOps is not something which is depreciated there, right? We are using the same DevOps processes, but we are just removing the dependency on multiple tools. So, GitOps is actually giving us that I will be able to automate, or I will be able to give you the platform for DevOps. But now you don't have to manage 3 4 different tools available as such there. You would say that maybe in future, if GitOps is so popular, then definitely tools like Jenkins may get depreciated or may not get that kind of traffic, because GitOps will be, taking care of, will be performing that kind of tasks or activities. But this GitHub Actions is something which is being done purely by the GitHub, like it's a GitHub solution. Maybe tomorrow some other tools comes in, or maybe, for example, Bitbucket is also having the pipelines, GitLab is also a pipeline. So it's a solution which is coming up nowadays. So whether it's having the capability to replace DevOps, we will be able to see in near future only. But yes, certainly, I have seen like people are have small organizations and startups. They have started working on GitOps, and rather than having a Jenkins server, they prefer to go for the GitHub Actions or Bitbucket pipelines only. Because I have involved in last 5 6 months into these consultancy work, so I'm getting good amount of work on that side. So from that experience, it's not a total migration, because I'm using DevOps into my organization and we are not using GitOps. We will never use GitOps there. But it depends. Like some organizations will go for this. Some organization will naturally will reframe or will retain the DevOps and the Jenkins, those kind of typical tools there.
Thanks, Anuj.
Yeah,
Any other question, guys?
I'm sharing the GitHub link into my system here.
Yeah.
This is my repository, guys. You can see the GitHub Actions, but again, I just used a very basic one. If you guys have your own repository, you can just click on the GitHub Actions and you can add your only. So you guys will be given like 2000 minutes per month. So it's more than sufficient for you guys to handle that kind of work.
Okay. Sure. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. If you have any other question, please let us know. I have pinned the DevOps University link as well. And if you have any question, you can reach out to us. Thank you for joining. Anuj, anything else from your side?
No, I'm very much.
Okay, then. Thank you. I'm closing this webinar. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.